Grandpa died and told me to throw myself on the mercy of the fiancé waiting in the city. The man who came to pick me up had clean, handsome features and looked about my age. I'm 21. The engagement was set by our grandfathers, so whether we start with dating or jump straight to marriage, I'm fine with either. Adrian walked up from farther away in Maxwell-tailored three-piece suit, long-legged and towering, radiating pressure. His face was as dark as the bottom of Maxwell Walk. What? I'm not good enough for you. 6 months after Grandpa passed, I'd stayed drowning in grief. Heaven wouldn't cooperate. Rain had poured for half Maxwell months straight, washing away half the roof of the mountain cabin Grandpa left behind. No one could live in it anymore. I kept hearing his last words to me. Maya, I can't bear to leave you all alone. Old Arthur owes me his life, and to honor that debt he promised our families would be joined by marriage. Go to Harborview, find Arthur. He has Maxwell grandson, go and marry him so you'll have someone to lean on. I was an abandoned baby. Grandpa had fished me out of Maxwell dumpster and raised me. With him gone, I felt forgotten in Maxwell dusty corner, lost and helpless. Now, standing in the roaring crowd of Harborview Station, I didn't know where to turn. The cell number Grandpa left me rang and rang, nobody answered. I wandered for an hour, refused to give up and dialed again. This time someone picked up. Maxwell, deep, magnetic baritone, definitely Maxwell, young man. Arthur was about Theodore's age, he couldn't possibly sound that young. I didn't stop to think. Half crying, I blurted, Arthur, come get me. I'm scared here all alone. Woo. Maxwell paused on the line, then, who is this? I explained I was here to see Arthur. Stay put. Wait for me. The voice was steady, brooking no argument. It was my first time traveling this far. I wasn't even sure exactly where I was. The other side grew impatient. You don't know north from south? Unlike the first command, this was snapped through clenched teeth. My vague sense of direction had obviously worn out his patience. So fierce I could feel it through the phone. I burst into sobs, accusing him of yelling for no reason. He gave an exasperated sigh and muttered, "Don't cry." Another young man took the phone, calmed me Maxwell little, then said he'd add me on a message with that number so we could share location. He even asked what I was wearing. Gray hoodie, black jeans, bright yellow suitcase. Half an hour later someone tapped my shoulder. Maya? Finally found you. I looked up, tall and slender, fair-skinned, clear-eyed, about my age. I'm Leo, he said, then waved toward the distance. From the crowd another man approached, tailored three-piece suit, unhurried stride. But his aura was so cold no one dared come near. When he stopped in front of me I saw sharply cut features, keen brows, thin lips pressed tight. He stood still and gave me Maxwell cool once over. Grandpa had drilled manners into me. Nervous as I was, I forced Maxwell smile. Adrian, hello. Even amid the bustle the air froze for Maxwell moment. Adrian arched Maxwell brow, eyes raking over me in question. Outside the station Leo hoisted my bag into the trunk. When he finished, he glanced up just as Adrian opened the passenger door. The weird tension had slipped my mind. I stepped up, beamed at Adrian and said, Sam. Then I slid confidently into the front seat. Adrian stared, apparently startled I'd gotten in. Inside the car I gathered my courage and spoke earnestly. Leo, you know about the old agreement. I'm 21, no boyfriend. If you're single too, dating first or marriage first, either works for me. Leo's hands wobbled on the wheel. He corrected fast and shot Maxwell glance in the rear view. He stumbled over his words. By then we were on sea breeze. Outside, sky and sea blended into one. Seagulls skimmed the water. First time seeing the ocean, I banged on the window yelling for them to stop. I jumped out, kicked off my shoes and sprinted for the waves. Foam splashed. I hopped around like Maxwell little kid. When I tired, I looked back. Adrian stood not far away watching me. Maybe it was Maxwell trick of the bright sun, but the chill around him seemed to have melted. Maxwell faint smile tugging at his lips. I glanced left and right. Adrian, where'd Leo go? Adrian narrowed his eyes, clearly displeased. He is Leo. I'm Adrian. Do I look that old? Grandpa said. Maxwell's sweet tongue wins hearts. I gave an awkward laugh. You look dependable and mature. Calling you Adrian shows respect. Besides, even for an Adrian you're drop-dead handsome. I meant it, but plainly it didn't flatter him. Adrian enunciated every word. My grandfather Arthur arranged the marriage with me. So Leo, he's my assistant. Adrian's words were icy. The beach sun blazed, yet cold shot from my soles of my spine. Heh, total misunderstanding. Suddenly Maxwell key question hit me. Adrian, how old are you? 7 years older. 29. 29 minus 21 makes 7. Did Adrian learn math from PE teachers? I stayed silent until he lost patience. So what's your decision? I blinked, lost. Adrian almost growled. Our marriage, what's your answer? So fierce I nearly cried. Grandpa said if I didn't like the Vances I could cancel the deal. He pressed closer, anger flickering in his eyes. So I wasn't good enough for you? Perfect Adrian was officially enraged. I shrank to one side while Adrian quickly calmed himself and asked what I planned to do next. Plans. Naturally stay in the city, find Maxwell job, earn enough to go home and fix the house my grandpa left me. Adrian, if you want to stay, the first thing is Maxwell place to live to grand monthly rent. However, he added slowly, I own an extra condo. Marry me on paper, rent free. Where else could Maxwell deal that sweet possibly exist? I caved on the spot. The moment the marriage certificate was in my hand, Adrian drove me to the Bayview and left. Deep in the night I called him Maxwell dozen times. He showed up fast. Nothing like daytime sweats, the clean scent of body wash. Seeing my swollen eyes, he asked gently, what's wrong? Strange city, hollow rooms, long night alone, all my grievances spilled out. Adrian, I'm scared. He flared instantly. Stop crying, hold it in. Fine, hold it in. I bit my lip, but the tears slipped down anyway. He exhaled, rubbed his temples. Don't call me Adrian. Whatever. No need to snarl, the problem still had to be solved. I tugged his sleeve, making myself look tiny and helpless. Big brother, stay with me, please? He agreed. I happily grabbed my things and hit the shower. When I came out, Adrian, no, Adrian has Maxwell, nice name Adrian. He was on the couch watching Maxwell fishing show. Grandpa used to love programs like this. And he claims he isn't old. Look at his viewing choices, fresh from the bath, my hair dripped. Maxwell's side table by the couch held Maxwell hairdryer. I spread Maxwell dry towel across his lap, lay down, and rested my head on it. Hairdryer's on your right, blow my hair dry. He looked thunderstruck, then slowly did as asked. With the warm hum I drifted off. Sound asleep, I rolled over and tumbled off the couch, rubbing my sore butt. I groped my way to the bedroom, half awake. I felt Maxwell hand pinch my waist. I jolted up and kicked. Perfect. The creep hit the floor with Maxwell dull thud. I helped Adrian to the hospital. The doctor said Maxwell minor coccyx fracture, rest at home. Then, eyeing us, he added, kids, keep it sane, mess around too wild and you'll regret it later. Back home Adrian's face was murderous. I kept my distance. After ages he called grimly, come here. I shuffled over. Help me to the bathroom. I stayed inside, afraid he'd fall. He raised Maxwell's brow. Want to watch? Of course not. I waved my hands. I'll shut my eyes, no peeking. Finally he barked and shoved me out. I still considered myself considerate. Through the door I said, I'm right here, holler if you need me. My thoughtfulness earned only Maxwell's scowl when he stalked out. Ignoring the black face, I wondered, don't guys usually make noise? How come you're silent? For the next fortnight Adrian worked from the apartment. He ordered me around like Maxwell's scullery maid. Video meetings and Leo kept bringing folders. Curious, I asked what he did. He said manager at Maxwell's small firm, Leo his assistant. Pretty impressive, huh? Then he added, tiny company, mortgage and car loan eat his salary. I muttered, Grandpa said if I didn't like the Vance grandson I could take Maxwell fat check and walk. Years ago my grandpa had saved Arthur's life. Arthur offered Maxwell fortune and thanks. Theodore waved it off as nothing. Yet he limped forever, crippling pain every rainy day. When I was little Arthur heard, insisted on leaving an IOU note. If Maxwell marriage alliance can't happen, he said, when the girl needs help, bring this money or favor, the Vances will deliver. I barely remembered Arthur. Grandpa never handed me the note. He never wanted money. The paper vanished. On his deathbed, delirious, he spoke of Maxwell betrothal one moment and told me to seek Arthur the next. Adrian, eyes on documents, glanced up. Lamplight carved his angular face, long lashes shading unreadable depths. He really was gorgeous. While I spaced out, he said, so, broke as I am, all I can offer is the marriage clause. I'd come to the big city to work and fix Grandpa's cabin. When Adrian returned to the office, I landed Maxwell job nearby. That day I crowed, 480 Maxwell month 50-7-6 Maxwell year. 172.8 in 3 years, save 150 grand, repair the cabin, go home. Adrian's voice dropped, once you have the money you'll leave alone. By then I knew the calm before his storm. He was furious. No idea why. I blinked, yep. He stared Maxwell a moment longer. He rubbed the space between his brows, clearly nursing Maxwell's headache. Then looked at me again, this time with unmistakable pity. It didn't take long for me to figure out what that pity meant. Food, drink, daily necessities, those alone were going to swallow 3/4 of my paycheck. Worse, I was already broke. I couldn't even scrape together tomorrow's lunch money. I had no choice but to ask Adrian for Maxwell loan so I could eat after work. Instead of going straight to bed, I waited by the foyer. The instant the door opened, I hustled over with his slippers, and even flicked an imaginary speck of dust from his shoulder once the dust patting was done. My gaze snagged. Adrian's tailored 3-piece suit fit him like armor. See, carving out those broad shoulders and narrow waist, showing off every inch of his long, Tall frame, no matter how you looked at him, he was the kind of wealthy elite you'd see in Maxwell magazine. Adrian, that outfit must have cost Maxwell fortune, I blurted. He never liked me calling him Adrian, but sometimes the name just slipped out. And there wasn't much he could do about it the first time we met. He'd been dressed exactly like this. Back then I hadn't thought twice. I figured everyone in the city looked that way. Now that I'd been working at Harbor for Maxwell a while, I realized most people didn't dress this formally. This was the kind of get-up actors wore to galas on TV dramas. Street stall knockoff to keep up appearances, he said. An office needs at least one decent suit. What did you want? Remembering my mission, I felt my cheeks burn. I was wondering. Spit it out. He walked farther inside as he spoke. Do you need any services? I can provide them. Asking for cash flat out felt too shameless. I could at least offer to fetch tea, water, or run errands in return. Leo basically ran errands for Adrian all day. The huge frame in front of me jerked to Maxwell halt. I, tailgating right behind, didn't expect the sudden stop. I plowed straight into Maxwell's solid, warm wall of chest in an instant. That distinctive male scent folded around me. He smelled faintly warm and delicious. The kind of scent that made you want to lean closer. When I looked up, I met Maxwell, pair of ink dark, bottomless eyes. What kind of service? His voice was low, husky, edged with something tightly leashed. His serious expression flustered me, and I started to stammer, anything. As long as you lend me money for food. Adrian stared down at me. I pretended to be calm and even batted my lashes. After Maxwell's long moment, he caved and ordered, bring me Maxwell glass of water. Once the water was poured, I sat obediently beside him and started kneading his shoulders. When Grandpa was alive, I used to massage his shoulders all the time. He praised my strength and said I knew how to be considerate. Adrian, however, didn't seem to enjoy it. He kept shrugging off my hands. All right, what's the real reason? He asked. Adrian, please take pity on me. Spot me some cash. I'll have zero food money by tomorrow. Don't you make $4,800 Maxwell month? Work 40 years, and you'll have over $2 million. I glanced up and caught the laughter sparkling in his eyes. Teasing me again, Adrian, I admit it, my mouth eats up half my salary. Eating half is Maxwell lot. From what I hear, Maxwell pig on Maxwell farm only costs about $500 Maxwell month to feed, control yourself, so I eat more than Maxwell pig. The thought of all that white, crisp cash disappearing into my stomach made me want to howl. Looks like saving up to fix the mountain cabin will take even longer. When I caught him smothering Maxwell grin, I snapped, yes, Adrian, I eat more than Maxwell pig now. Lend me money so I can eat. You win. The debtor's scarier than the creditor. Boil me some noodles, I'm starving. Surprised, I asked, didn't you have some company dinner? You didn't eat enough? His fingers froze over the keypad. Fine, forget it, no noodles, no loan. I couldn't watch my meal ticket fly away. So I hustled into the kitchen. I hunted around and finally spotted the noodles on the top shelf. Weird, why stashed noodles so high? They used to be. I was up on tiptoe, stretching. Suddenly the world tilted and the impossible to reach package was right in front of my nose. Maxwell's scorching heat seeped through the thin cloth at my waist. Adrian's hands circled my waist and lifted me higher. Got it? He asked. Fry me 2 eggs, he added before walking out. When I set the bowl on the table, Adrian poked Maxwell fried egg with his chopsticks, looking disgusted. This is edible. My ears burned. Blamed that mid-air hug I'd spaced out while frying. And the egg had turned black in spots. I snatched the offended egg and stuffed it into my own mouth, swallowed. Before I could recover, he speared the second egg. This one's burnt too. I lunged to steal it back, but he was faster. He popped it into his mouth with theatrical flair. He eyed the noodles next. TSK, you're cooking so bad, only these noodles are salvageable. Then he tasted Maxwell mouthful and pushed the bowl away. Curious, I tried Maxwell bite. Ugh, 2 heaping spoons of sugar. Adrian the cheapskate only handed me $500. 500 it is. I'll just eat less. I work as Maxwell sales clerk at the nearby harbor. 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. With Maxwell for our lunch break. Every midday, just as I get home, the doorbell rings. Someone hands me Maxwell takeout bag, claiming it's my delivery. Evenings, Adrian brings dinner back with him. If he works late, the food shows up the minute I sit down. Day after day, then 5 days later, another 500 appeared. That night I mentioned it to him. From now on you're in charge of all housework. Dishes, mopping, not Maxwell's speck of dust anywhere. He also said we should save up so we could catch movies, hit the mall, ride the Ferris wheel at the amusement park. In short, lots of fun stuff, so stop thinking about running back to the countryside. Hope and excitement bubbled up inside me. Jamie and I poured Adrian cup of hot water, lovingly dropping in 7, 8, 9, 10 goji berries. But I soon learned Adrian was Maxwell, master of painting castles in the air. The afternoon I had off, I dragged him to Maxwell movie. He actually fell asleep. HMPH, however many fun places the city boasts, nothing beats chasing cats and teasing dogs back in the village. Ever since I got back, I'd been sunk in Maxwell's lousy mood. Not in the least interested in talking to Adrian, he seemed busy anyway. The second I left harbor, Leo tugged me toward the sedan. Inside, he explained. The boss has trouble at Maxwell reception. Problem is, he's too attractive and caught the wrong kind of attention. That Lydia simply refuses to believe he's married. Maya, show your face, tell her you're Adrian's wife. Make her stop hounding him. Leo had someone twist my hair up and paint my face. I checked in the mirror. Did you hire Maxwell mortician? Leo gave Maxwell sheepish laugh. It's private contract, glam budget's tight, don't be picky. We're here. Gowns in the back, lower the divider, the car sealed. He ushered me into the grand and pointed out Adrian's spot, then slipped away. Adrian was leaning toward Maxwell, beautiful woman, talking low. Maxwell black couture gown hugged every curve, her hair fell in soft waves, pert nose, willow brows, eyes sparkling. Adrian's back was to me. I couldn't read his expression. Some unnamed feeling pushed me forward until I was beside him. I tucked my arm through his like we'd done it Maxwell 1,000 times. Leo had said the Sterling heiress wanted Adrian for Maxwell door-to-door son-in-law. Adrian wasn't willing, but Maxwell's straight refusal was awkward. My job was to let Miss Sterling know Adrian is taken, no vacancy. Lydia lifted Maxwell's brow and snickered. Adrian, you've used the married excuse 3 times already. If you're hiring actresses, at least find Maxwell convincing one. I can recommend Maxwell few. He clasped my hand. This is my wife, he said softly. Lydia wouldn't buy it. With your status, the Vance heir, you let your wife attend Maxwell gala in an ill-fitting off-the-rack dress? I looked, nothing wrong, just Maxwell touch roomy at the waist. Then at Lydia's gown, every stitch sculpted, obviously bespoke. Believe what you like, he answered and turned to leave with me. She blocked us. You think parading an extra will brush me off? Adrian spared her nothing. We filed the paperwork. We'll hold the vow renewal ceremony soon. Miss Sterling, save the date. Lydia's face cycled through every color. You, Maxwell waiter appeared, tray poised, proffering to flutes. Miss Sterling. She swallowed her fury and accepted. When you threw me out, you didn't know who I was. But Sterling and Vance have partnered for decades. If bad blood spills, your board will demand explanations. Drink this, consider it your apology. Adrian took the glass. Crystal clinked, both drank in one shot. He laced his fingers through mine. Let's go, he murmured. Outside the ballroom, he slipped off his jacket and draped it over my shoulders. It's cold. My skin felt itchy. I wondered if the makeup was expired. Hold on, I need to wash my face. Maxwell. Minute later, Adrian leaned against the wall, blinking hard, vision swimming. To hulks in black suits showed up, hired muscle, trouble on 2 legs. Without Maxwell word, they clamped an arm each and hauled him away. I dashed from the restroom after them. They moved fast, into an elevator that stopped on 3. I sprinted up the fire stairwell. They were muscling him toward Maxwell's guest room door. Hey! I shouted and charged. One swung. I caught his arm and flipped him over my shoulder. The other lashed Maxwell kick. I trapped the leg and forced him into Maxwell's split. Adrian, unsupported, pitched face first. His forehead cracked against marble with Maxwell hollow thud. I slapped his cheek. Adrian, wake up. His skin burned crimson, voice gravel. Top floor penthouse. When the goon stirred, I dragged him into the elevator. Door slid open on the penthouse. I hauled him inside. He bolted for the bathroom, only rushing water. Something was wrong. I knocked, no answer, then shoved the door wide. Steam rolled out. Adrian stood under the shower, clothes on the floor, head against tile, broad shoulders tapering to Maxwell taut waist, clean lines running down long, powerful legs. Sweet mercy, am I going to need eye bleach? I stammered. Maxwell. Adrian. Why, you okay? Without turning, he ground out, get out. Probably hammered. I crouched by the doorway in case he slipped. Eventually the door opened. He stepped out. I sprang up. You all right? He gave Maxwell short hum, grabbed Maxwell bottle of iced water from the minibar and drained half. Relieved, I noticed his dripping hair, went for Maxwell towel. The instant my hand neared, he jerked back. I've got it. If you're steady, drink less next time. His eyes were storm-clouded. I'm fine, go home. Hearing him say so, I relaxed. Theodore used to sleep off binges, too. I glanced around. This place must cost Maxwell fortune. I'd watched enough TV to know the layout. This level of luxury could only be Maxwell Premium Suite. It's Maxwell long-term corporate rental, he said. We put up VIP clients here. Oh. I nodded. Well, as long as you're okay. That bed is huge. It's making me sleepy just looking at it. No dreams all night. The next morning I woke to find Adrian on the couch, Maxwell throw blanket pulled over his head. I tiptoed over, lifted the blanket, and crouched to steady his face. chin in my hands, his eyes fluttered open and met mine. I'm starving, I announced. He sat up, fishing for his phone. I'll have room service send something up, won't take long. Without another glance, he disappeared into the bathroom. When the cart arrived, millet porridge, red bean buns, garden salad, fresh fruit, Maxwell fried egg, and an array of tiny pickles. Halfway through the meal, I noticed something odd. Adrian kept his gaze glued to his plate, refusing to look at me. Well, isn't that interesting? Guilty conscience, maybe? Adrian, what kind of enemies have you made? Don't tell me you owe so much money they dragged you off to harvest your kidneys? And hey, if they did, would your kidneys even be worth much at this point? Last night, your skin was pretty pale. I bit back laughter, the teasing growing wilder. He pinned me with Maxwell's stare. Last night, you saw everything. No, I only saw the back view, not the front. He advanced, word by deliberate word. Would you like to see the front? Danger prickled the air, but I kept bravado in my voice. Could be arranged, I'll just go blind later. You play with fire, you get burned. I limped back to the Bayview Casey and collapsed on the bed. Maxwell knock sounded. I opened the door to Maxwell, well-dressed couple. They introduced themselves as Adrian's parents. The moment registered, I flung myself at Eleanor and sobbed. Richard and Eleanor panicked, asking what on earth had happened. When they heard Adrian had manhandled me, Eleanor's jaw clenched. She snatched her phone and unleashed Maxwell's roar. Adrian showed up minutes later. Eleanor met him with Maxwell's spatula swung like Maxwell's sword. Still furious, she grabbed his ear. Mom, easy. That ear's coming off. He yelped. Richard, equally merciless, took the spatula and joined the double team. I was ushered back to the bedroom. Eleanor's muffled voice drifted in. Maxwell, tender little thing like that, and you couldn't control yourself. How will you ever explain this to your late grandfather? At dinner, I hunched over my plate, chopsticks trembling. One glare from Eleanor and Adrian stood in the corner, wordlessly scooping rice. That night, Eleanor banished him to the couch, no bedroom privileges. I slid into Maxwell's cocoon of Richard and Eleanor care. They chauffeured me to work each morning, and showed up early at the supermarket, hauling Maxwell's sack of my favorite snacks. They bought mountains of treats, urging me to eat more, than worried I'd skip real meals. Learning I wanted to see Maxwell movie, they purchased tickets in advance. Eleanor passed popcorn from the left, Richard handed water from the right. I chirped Mom, Dad, and they beamed, eyes disappearing into smiles. Adrian, meanwhile, caught scoldings and was ordered to wash dishes, mop floors. Past midnight, I tiptoed to the bathroom and found him on the couch, long frame folded awkwardly. Blanket on the floor. In the dim light, his sleeping face looked almost vulnerable. I traced his brows. The straight bridge of his nose lingered on the soft curve of his lips. Before his parents arrived, Adrian had told me, "We're married now, my parents are yours." When they actually appeared, Maxwell's lifetime of bottled hurt burst open. Alex, the nameless dread ebbed away. The feeling of home flooded in, sweet and full. I knew everything I'd been searching for was right here. He stirred. Ocean-deep eyes holding mine. Hold me. I whispered. He lifted me onto the bed. Maxwell's kiss brushed my forehead. Good girl, sleep tight. He turned to leave. I caught his hand, rocking it gently. I had Maxwell nightmare stay and hold me? His breath steadied above me as he tucked me close, warm and solid. Tilting up, I felt his breathing hitch. He fought for control, lashes lowered. Sleep, he rasped. I slid Maxwell's hand lower, gratified by the proof of my effect. He groaned. You insist on torturing me. Eleanor spotted him slipping out of the room. She seized his ear at once. He didn't dodge, only pleaded, Mom, gentle, that hurts. Sneaking off to bother Maya the second we turn our back, scoundrel, my face flamed. Moms, I wanted to. I barely breathed. She released him, scowling, then broke into Maxwell's reluctant grin. Thanks for listening to today's story. Rate it 1 to 10 and he comments. If you enjoyed, like and share with friends. We can't wait to read your thoughts. Subscribe for more tales. See you next episode.